trying to help me out to protect this community. It's not that we're bougie. By the way, they think we're bougie over here. We don't want anybody. We want out, but with the things that we're dealing with the shelter that we don't want, but they don't understand. Shelter is not fitting here. Certain things not fitting in this community. That's all. It's not that we don't want anything. We want to collaborate. It's just like how we're gonna collaborate. So I have Dana to help us out.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Narcisse, and thank you so much to everyone for joining us here tonight, especially I know it was on really short notice. Luckily, we were able to make the AV situation work, and we have our presentation deck up here. Thank you, Dorothy. I do have a small amount of printed copies as well. Does anyone want a printed copy? You can put your hand in the air. I have like 10 printed copies. So I'm gonna walk you through.
Don't forget you can put one right here so we go on.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. One for the chair.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's only 10.
Yeah,
Have to share.
I really don't have a lot. I'm so sorry.
Oh, look at this one here.
The whole board here, the whole board is here.
Okay.
Miscommunication was
What's your name? I'm so sorry. Dana.
All right, everyone, I just want to be clear, before Dana begins, she's going to give a presentation with some proposals. This is just like one of our regular public hearings. After we hear the presentation, the floor will be open for questions. When the floor is open for questions, I'm going to, we always prioritize board members. Right after board members, we are going to prioritize people that live in a 3-block radius of the proposed project. That's going to be the priority. Speakers will have 60 seconds to ask their question and then sit down. Do not, we don't have our mics up today, but it's not ask a question, hear the answer, and then ask another question. You ask one question and you have a seat, and that's how we're going to move this. When we are finished with our question and answer portion, someone from the board, preferably someone from our land use and zoning committee, can then put a motion on the floor based off of the information that we heard. Because this is a public hearing, there needs to be a vote. We have not pre-considered what that motion will be, or in the absence of our chair of zoning. If you're on the zoning committee.
He's on his way.
Oh, he's on his way, fantastic. All right, so we're gonna defer to him to put the motion on the floor, or, that part will get worked out. Based on what you hear, you like what you hear, you don't like what you hear, you put a motion on the floor and we're gonna vote. Everybody understand how we're gonna move?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, I'll come back with some reminders just in case, because I don't think everyone's had their dinner yet, so people are not necessarily paying attention. But because everyone has not had their dinner, we are going to move expeditiously. So Dana, please take it away.
Yes, I'm going Since I introduced myself, now I'm going to introduce Paris, the director of the Planning and Land Use Division.
Hey, Paris.
Paris.
It's me.
Oh, hi.
How are you?
I apologize because I thought this meeting was at 7, so. Thanks so much for having us here. The council member asked me to kind of explain the technicals of what's before here, and kind of give the technical aspect of the decisions that she made. Also, the speaker had weighed in on this project. But anyway, let me fly through these slides. I appreciate everyone's time tonight. Thank you. So this was the original proposal from the developer. This is a rendering of it. We can go to the next slide too. This is a schematic version. Obviously the community had a lot of problems with this. This is taller and bigger than most buildings in the area. It's a very low density area. What's weird about this application is that the developer keeps saying, and he said it at the community board, at City Planning Commission, and at City Council's hearing, at our hearing, that even though they had to do this for the application and for environmental review reasons, that actually what they want to build is just commercial. And that seemed kind of suspect, but at least I actually believe the developer here because for two reasons. One, if you look at everything else that they own in the neighborhood, it's all commercial only development. Two, if you look at kind of their records and what the company does, they've never done any residential development, they just do commercial development. And then three, the reason that they did this working with Department of City Planning is that they benefited from an expedited review as it relates to environmental review because they included residential and particularly affordable housing in their proposal. And that's going to be an important point that I'll come back to in terms of kind of our options for moving forward. It's been a great day. I killed it. Sorry to say it, but it's funny. But we had a roach issue in the office where a water bug flew over my coworker's head and landed on her desk. And I had to kill it. It's just been a great day. So just to reflect what the original proposal, 7 stories, 36 units, residential units, 15 parking spaces, and then it was about 7,000 square feet of commercial. We can go to the next slide. Okay, so what can be built on the lot today? Because that's also important to think about. Even though Flatlands Avenue is heavily commercial, and that's pretty much what you see that's new, it does allow residential today, but in a modest form. So I just picked this building. This is a building that's a little further down Flatbush, coming this way. I'm sorry, Flatlands, sorry. This is a building on Flatlands coming this way from the development site, so coming west. Actually, no, I think it's west of us. This building, I think, is maybe even west of us.
It's on
But.
Flatlands near Utica.
Okay.
Before Utica. Tony's 56.
Flatlands right before Utica. So I wanted to include something that you all would recognize. This is the type of multifamily building that would be allowed as of right. And you could tell that there's multiple units. I think there's actually a door on the back too, so I think this is a 3-family, not just 2 units. But you could do a small multifamily building that could be up to 3 floors, 3 stories. And you could also include a community facility, which this building doesn't. But that actually, if they did, you could actually do what's called a 0 lot line. So basically you could build out the entire lot as the community facility on the ground floor and then do residential above. But so that's what's allowed today. What's not allowed today is commercial, which is why this applicant is seeking the rezoning. Next slide. So there were a couple options in terms of trying to move forward the application. And I'll give it back to the council member in a second, but we had so going back to what I said about they took an expedited review path. What the council member wanted here as her first preference was to just let them do the commercial. They don't need a residential upzoning. It makes sense to have commercial, so let's just do the commercial. So we tried that. Unfortunately, that was what we call out of scope. That was the ruling from Department of City Planning, and the reason it was out of scope is because the whole reason that this application was expedited was that it was a rezoning that was to facilitate residential. So that's not something we could control. Then the question was, if we're gonna do a residential upzoning, what makes sense? And you know, the speaker's preference here, I'll let the council member talk about you know, her view on this, was that if we're gonna do residential upzoning, it should include affordable housing. It shouldn't just be market rate housing. So, and again, the applicant just wants to do commercial. So this is kind of this is what the zoning would allow, but it is not what the developer currently intends to build. So just to go over this, 5 stories, it's only 16 units. The parking required here is 50% of market rate units, 25% of MIH units. That said, at 16 units, they waive out of parking, so they would not have to include parking spaces. And then you could do up to 8,000 square feet of commercial on the ground floor. Next slide. So just to compare what was originally proposed versus where, what the proposal is to where, the recommendation in terms of where we land. The building, I understand, is still not what you usually see in the area. It is a lot smaller, I would say, than the original proposal. Do we have another slide, or is that it? I think that's it. Oh, and then this is what the developer's intending to build. Just one floor commercial, some parking in the back. So questions, or Councilman, do you want to say anything, or do you want to take questions first?
Get the questions.
Okay. It's clear. You guys are a very technical audience.
I have a question. I'll go
No,
first.
that's too quiet, just scared.
Does everyone, before I even ask my question, does everyone understand okay, that's why we don't have questions. People don't understand what's happening. So 5502 Flatlands Avenue came to us a couple months ago, and after quite a bit of conversation with the committee and then with the board, they came here, we got the presentation, and we voted to only change the zoning for a commercial. That was it. No housing, back and forth about the housing, we said yes to commercial. To expedite, and stop me if I'm speaking out of turn, to expedite the application, and we believe this developer was only going to do commercial, and Paris gave a whole bunch of reasons why he also has that belief. Paris works for New York City Council. The application was expedited, and then it got kicked back, even with our approval, saying we only expedited this application because you did the housing schematics to show how much housing could fit. So if we're gonna move forward with this expedited application, you have to have the housing. So that's what's happening today. We're looking at the proposal that includes the housing. Everybody got that? Yeah. On the same page now? All right. So my question, my first question, as it is right now, is so if we are now, today, here to consider housing, how many stories of housing are being proposed right now? Because I'm actually not clear on that.
Yeah, and again, what's weird, usually the applicant would be here, but the applicant's not proposing housing, so. And so this is a decision that between the council member, the speaker, I work for the speaker of the city council. We're here presenting this to you because, but that's why anyway. So actually, let me go back. Is this the So under the rezoning, under the upzoning, what's possible is 5 stories, because it's a small site. It's a weird shaped site. It's a triangle. So it's 5 stories that are possible, but even the 5th story, you see, it doesn't take up the full building because they can't get. There's not enough FAR to get there. But 5 stories, 16 units. And this is assuming they still build out a ground floor commercial. Technically, they could make the ground floor residential. If they did, they wouldn't be able to build the whole site. There'd be yard requirements, like front yard, rear yard, side yard. But they would get a little more than 16 units. But this is assuming that they do ground floor commercial, which on Flatlands Avenue, it'd be weird for them to not do that. So this is what they could build under the proposed upzoning now.
Okay. So we're looking at the 5 stories, but the 50% parking required 50% of market rate and 25% of MIH units. But we're talking about all affordable though, right? No market rate.
No. This is the thing. Developer's not proposing this, but we're assuming it's a market rate project, which means it'd be 75% market rate and 25% affordable.
Okay. So my other question, since the developer is not proposing this, they're only proposing commercial and all they develop is commercial. If we were to bring this to the floor and vote yay, is that same developer gonna work on the project, or will it be another developer, or will they work in tandem?
No, so, yeah, it's complicated. So basically to enable the developer to get the commercial overlay, they also need they need some kind of residential upzoning. So what we did is we took down the density from what was originally proposed, but right now the developer is only proposing commercial.
That's right.
If they sell the property though, or if they change their minds, I don't think they would change their minds, but maybe they sell the property, things can change. Another developer could build something like this.
Question.
Yeah, I do see we have a lot of hands, so I'm going to hold my last question. Can we just make a line, actually? We're gonna line up by David, we're gonna use this microphone right here.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. David Price, Treasurer. Based on my understanding, this board approved the commercial space. The council member is in favor of the commercial space. Everyone is in favor of the commercial space.
And it went through Borough Hall.
And it went through Borough Hall. Now, the only reason that there seems to be a problem is because we decided to go with this expedited approval process. Is there an urgent need that requires this space to be developed as a commercial property that forces us to do it through this expeditious manner? What if we just paused and said, let's go through the regular channels, not the expedited route, and then develop a commercial space that everyone seems to be in favor of?
Yeah, well, and city council hasn't taken a final vote on this, so what could still happen is you guys say, well, we don't want this, so we're saying no, come back. The developer could choose to do that. I don't know how the rest of the council will necessarily vote on this. If your council members say no.
That's where we have problem, because none of my colleagues is supporting what I'm doing, the fact that I'm protecting this community, because I know the experience, what we've been through. So majority of my colleagues are not in the situation that we are in the 46th district. So for them, they see development. So I'm just kind of alone when it comes to housing project in this community. And for them, because some of them have so many development, that's the fact of life, that's the truth. But when I'm standing for low density, which we are, it's not a lie. But I'm alone because everybody else, from board president, from everyone, saying what's wrong with this 46th district. So I've been fighting. Y'all don't know how much fight. You don't know how much fight I've been through. Because my colleagues will throw rock at me at all time. So, but what I'm afraid of, which I'm gonna repeat again, if we don't come to the table to try to get that little things that we can kind of like deal with, then we are being seen that we don't want to be part of the city. We don't want to be part of helping with the housing crisis. So that's why the conversation, that's the reason I put that emergency on him to come back to see, let's reflect on it. I didn't say no. I would say no, but we are no people. So therefore, once the city of yes in full motion, then we'll have less conversation. They will not come to us. Remember in the proposal, that's why I was fighting so much for us to say no, because we want our city council members, whether it's me or somebody else, we want the council members to be able to advocate for you. So now, with the new approach, it's gonna be the mayor, board president, and the speaker. And your council members that's fighting right now, I can safeguard you for now, give you cushion, but it's not gonna be possible. So therefore, we are seen as a community that's not willing to help. So I'm saying, if something is very low, we can get by, let's think about it. That's why I bring it back to you, for you to make your final decision. Because I'm saying later on, I'm concerned, because the way they're targeting us, and 1010 win, in news media, any news outlet, no 46 district doesn't have any construction.
So, the city council hasn't voted on this yet. The city council is going to vote our council member typically always votes in favor of whatever the community board wants, right? So we're listening to this, and I want us to have this backdrop as we ask our questions, and I'm happy that we're thinking about this and asking questions. If the city council, if we walk out of here tonight and we're not interested in any of this at all, which is our right to do, right? And it's typically what we do, so I wouldn't even be surprised if we didn't. The city council votes. The city council can vote along, right? Councilmember Narcisse's colleagues can vote with her and say no. That very well may happen. But what she's here today saying is she doesn't think that's gonna happen because they're all kind of coming for her like you don't handle your share of development while the rest of us do. So they may not defer to her in this situation. Let's say they do defer to her. Let's say she's able to make the case and they're like, you know what, Canarsie is thinking, I'm not gonna do this to you, right? We had election day the other day, right? And I'm lifting up something that she kind of alluded to, the councilmember alluded to. We just had this ballot proposal which creates an appeals board. Who's on the appeals board? The mayor, not the current mayor, but who will be the mayor, right? Mayor-elect Mamdani, the borough president Reynoso, who is definitely pro-development, and whoever the new speaker of the city council is. Those three people will take this in appeal. And when they get it in appeal, right, and we already know that two of them are pro-development, so it doesn't even matter who the new speaker of the city council is, they're gonna say, yes, we're going to develop. And then it's up to them at that point. They can say, screw your 5 stories, forget your 5 stories, we're gonna take the whole 7. We're gonna put the whole 7 up, right? So it would be prudent for us to seriously consider the 5-story or propose something else. I don't know, a 3-story. I have no idea. But it would be prudent for us to consider something seriously, because if this fails in the city council, I can assure you, y'all see my little son who's now 5'5", right? I'll bet him that they're gonna put 7 stories on us. And we do not, 6, 7. She did it, made me do it.
They didn't even put more.
Maria made me do it. They can go higher than 7. They can do whatever they want to do at that time. And that's why voting is so important. That's why those ballot initiatives are so important, because we are going to suffer. And we are at this point between a rock and a hard place. Are we gonna choose bad or worse before they give us worst? And I hate to put it like that, but that's what it is. All right, let's continue with the questions.
My question is, how, if in fact this is voted in, the current developer who owns that, the current developer that owns that site has 0 experience building housing. That's not what he does as a business. So the council is telling this developer, if you want your stores on the ground level or 2 stories or whatever, you have to build a house. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's a great question. So the application had to include housing in order to still qualify for this expedited route that the developer, we didn't choose that, the developer chose to do that with city
So
planning.
the developer is asking for an
Well, no, they already went through that. It's environmental review that happens even before Euler.
Okay.
Right.
So because they did that, that tied our hands and we couldn't take away the residential upzoning and still approve the commercial. It had to come together. But that's just the zoning. What's great about zoning, well, some people think it's not great, but what's great about zoning in this case is you don't have to build what you're allowed.
That's what I was about to
So
tell
we're not telling the developer they have to build housing. The developer doesn't have to build housing. The city council just has to approve the commercial along with housing. But the developer's just gonna build commercial.
That's the caveat for us right now, because the developer do not want it, and I do not want it, and you do. But we can continue the conversation, but it's not guaranteed.
Right.
So therefore, when you come with a proposal, now the city can turn back to me, say, oh, you have not made the effort to build in your community. I would say, yes, we did approve something, but the developer changed their mind.
Right, okay.
But right now, if we don't do anything at all, and the folks are watching, the board president already said he wants housing there on that spot. So therefore, we putting ourselves even for by January, everything
Compromise.
open.
A compromise.
That's what I'm asking. Because what I have been is to negotiate my way around things. But right now, I'm telling you, it's kind of tight for me. I'm already pretty good at convincing my speaker, everyone else, to do certain things that we want in this community. But this time, I'm saying my advice to you, if you say no, I'll go and say no. But I'm worried about the future, like how we gonna handle things. And not everybody can probably be a talker like myself to get my way out of things. So, that's what I'm saying.
And then just one other thing, I strongly object to any new building going up in our community without parking. End of story.
Yeah.
It's tough as it is
Yeah,
with on-street parking.
yes.
You should make allowances to build on the ground or whatever you have to do to have parking. Certainly for the market apartments. You're gonna buy an apartment or you're gonna rent an apartment and you don't have a parking space? I don't think so. That's my 2 cents.
I don't think a developer would build housing in this
No.
area without some.
But you're allowing him to build without parking.
Right.
The zoning, yes,
Okay.
unfortunately.
No, but we will fight that. That I
Okay.
can fight. This
Okay.
I will get to that.
We
down
all
to
know
that
what
level
this-
first.
how-
But what I'm saying, it may not build housing.
Right.
But just in case, for the cushion for ourselves, to say we had done something.
Okay.
Because right now we're in the blacklist. I'm
Okay.
just saying.
I hear you. No, you're not.
I'm just saying.
Not here.
We
Okay.
are.
Go ahead. Have a seat.
Thank you.
Thank you, by the way. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Gordon. I'm also on the board. I want to thank you, council member, for bringing us together, as well as everyone here at the table. And you just made it a bit more clearer for me. And the point is that we need to compromise because the 7 floors is what the city wants. And so this plan of 5 floors, I would prefer 4 floors, quite
Yeah,
frankly.
me too.
And so, I'm in favor of, presenting a compromise of some sort. But the question is, since the developer is saying he does not want to do it, are we saying that if, when it goes before the city council and they're to sign off on it, if they say, well, we are going to endorse something, whatever it is that we propose, then what action will the developer take since he is against building residential?
Yeah, so the developer can just build the commercial.
Just can build it.
Or he could build it anyway?
Yes, once you get it
Even
up,
though you guys.
that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Oh, okay.
We can still have the conversation, but for us, in this, with the, whatever the process going on with the city planning,
Okay.
he wants to build, he cannot build because he has to bring a proposal of housing, but he's not too much into the housing, he's more in commercial. But
Okay.
right now, it can be a win-win for us, but he might as well say, okay, I'm gonna do the housing, the whatever you give me. I don't know, I cannot guarantee that part, but one of the thing I said, right now, he loves the idea of the commercial.
Okay.
He's not
thank
too
you.
into.
Good night. My name is Nigel Dupree, Community Board Member. Thank you for no seats for coming out. Thank you for everybody coming out for this important meeting. It seems like every person who want to build hides behind affordable housing. We know in New York, the affordable housing is not affordable for the normal person that works there. I think he said something like 20% affordable housing. Yeah, that rate is ridiculous. And then it's like we're compromising for somebody's 7 buildings for 5 because they got expedited. So what about the next person? I say, I want 14. Or the next building, I say, I want 20. We're going to keep shortening the buildings. We got to make a stand eventually. I don't know. I hope this gets shut down. Canarsie needs to be Canarsie, and they need to invest in more programs for kids and do other things. We don't know if it's going to pass or not, but it sounds terrible to me, to be honest. I appreciate you fighting for us. You always fight for us. I respect you. But it's like we're compromising, and they're going to build anyway. It's everything. We always take a vote, we compromise, and they build anyway. So we get 5. What about the next person that get expedited through? What are they going to ask for? What part of Canarsie they're going to take? And that's all I wanna say, thank you.
Thank you, Nigel. I just want to be clear, everyone, we do not have a motion on the floor. So we have a presentation, if you will, from land use. There is no motion on the floor yet. So right now, we are only in question answer period, questions about this proposal, questions about this presentation, just questions that we have, and then we'll have to get then we will have a motion on the floor. Once a motion is on the floor, then I'll open the floor and invite people to express yay or nay and try to get people to vote, a certain way if there's any debate that we need to have about whatever motion comes to the floor, and maybe even a compromise at that time. But right now, again, no motion. Thank you. Go ahead, Rob.
Thank you, Chairperson. So Rob Mizuchin, I'm a community board member, I'm president of Marine Park Civic. And I'm gonna say this, we stand with our other neighborhoods in Marine Park. Canarsie doesn't want this, we don't want it. What I don't understand is, I get the community council, but when does what we want in these neighborhoods not matter anymore? And I'm gonna say with respect to the compromise, once you compromise on this, we'll take 5 stories. Now we're saying we're okay with this. I think it should be a flat out no, and that should be all we say about that. We don't want this in the neighborhood. You talk to the people in the community, they don't want it. We had a meeting here in, I think it was July, and we didn't want it then. So I think the compromise is what starts this rolling and invites this in our neighborhood. Now, if we compromise on this, we compromise on something else. And my question to you is, from what I hear from you, Mercedes, is that if we say no, they're gonna say yes anyway, right?
There's a possibility that's coming soon that we would have no conversation in the room anymore.
Okay,
That's what we're talking about.
but-
So what?
Let me get to my question. So if we say no, they're gonna say yes anyway. And then it's still gonna go to this developer, and this developer may still build only commercial, correct?
There's a chance.
So if we give our voice, if we tell the city what we want, there's a possibility that we get to say no, and we still end up with only commercial space. Is that correct?
You may be.
Possibly.
Yes.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to warn you, there is, after the proposal, we did not go through. So now, like the chair was telling you, there is a chance that later on, probably after January, we become irrelevant in the discussion. Because we're just putting a block. When you keep saying no, no, and then you're not meeting something that can probably not gonna be, out of order, then when it comes out of order, you don't have no chance to talk.
Understood, but
Is it-
4
make the
years from
decision
now,
wisely.
4 years from now, we would be able to speak. And
When?
if you keep saying no and telling them the messages of these communities, we can speak
Where?
in the voting booths.
And let
Yeah.
me clarify.
But then
So,
again,
thank
that's
you.
a law that passed for the whole city of New York. The city of yes is for the whole city.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to stay there. If the next administration could vote it down.
That would be a long
And
time.
let me clarify on this charter stuff, because it is confusing. This is the first time the charter has amended Euler, since 1989. So it hasn't happened every 4 years. It's possible if a mayor wants to put stuff on the ballot that would undermine this, but I'll tell you right now, it's never gonna happen. No mayor is ever gonna do that. It's just, it's not gonna happen. Mandami's not gonna do it, Cuomo wouldn't do it.
Nope,
Maybe Sliwa would do it, but I don't think.
I do not think so.
Sliwa, I'm sorry.
Sliwa would not be able to do it either.
Yeah, I mean, the charter doesn't change very often. I mean,
No.
it's really what happened,
People don't understand.
last week, was that last week? On
Thinking
the election
whatever they
day?
wanna think.
It was a little bit of a travesty. But just to clarify the technical points, we're actually trying to rush this application a little bit.
Oh, that mercy.
Because it will be subject to the appeals board in December of this year, not next year. This year, it is likely to be subject to the appeals board, which means the mayor and the board president, even if the rest of the city council votes with Narcisse, they can override this in December, this application. And what that means, now the developer might just build commercial anyway, but they'll go back to the original, because that's what Reynoso wants, right? And then the other thing the other piece of it, that's the appeals board. This community district, because it doesn't produce a lot of affordable housing, it's now in this bottom 12 where the city council will be removed from the process entirely. That won't happen until next year, but that's also a risk that the council member was talking about.
Okay.
My
Thank
name
you,
is
Paris.
Elaine. I'm a member of the community council, community board. My question is, these units are being built. You said market rate and affordable housing. What do you consider market rate? What is the market rate? What is the affordable housing? And then who does this thing belong to? Who is benefiting? Is not benefiting the community. They're not bringing anything. This thing are not bringing anything. Who are they bringing? Who is going to pay for those apartments they're going to put here? Will I be able to afford this apartment as a resident of Canarsie? Can you tell me what is the market rate and the affordable rate?
No, so those are great questions. Market rate out here, I don't have it off the top of my head, but it's high. You know,
It's high.
No. I want to know the number. How much are you going to charge for those
Two-bedroom is
units?
probably around 3,300.
What is the number? Come back with the number. What we gonna pay? Who is gonna pay for? We're gonna bring new people. This thing are not being built for people in Canarsie. What is doing for Canarsie? And then that land been there for a long time. What is the need for us to see that all this land are being used for commercial purposes, for developers? Developers are making millions. What do we get?
Those are all valid points. I agree. I don't.
We need an answer to this before
Right.
everything else.
Ma'am, because I work for the council member and for all the council members, I can't tell you what market rate is going to be for this building.
Really?
I can't really do that. What I can tell you, and this is within the council member's control, if we end up voting for this, is we can set what the affordable apartments are. And there's two options. I think the council member is leaning one way.
25 or 30.
But basically, you could either have 25% of the units at 60% AMI, area median income, which is basically the incomes that would qualify would be between about $65,000 a year for an individual and $90,000 for a family of
I mean, our kids are not making that from college.
I agree. The other option.
They have to stay in our house. They cannot be independent. They want to rent an apartment for them to make $60,000. Some kids leave college, they make it $35,000, $40,000, and then they cannot afford this apartment. And then now we have to vote to make the developers make money, and the city. What does the city have to do with that piece of land that's been there for a long time?
That's not the city, that's a private property.
But why are we here for a private
Yeah, because
owner?
we have
Why?
to decide on it. We have to decide on.
What
what
does
this
the
is.
city have is say in that?
For
If
now.
it's a private owner?
No, but you still have to go through the process because you cannot let anyone build whatever they want to. So that's the reason you have the community board. So I invited them to come to help us out, to understand what is the best option after they give us all the information, like I just explained to you at length, why we have to be prudent about how we make decision, because by January, we have less vote. Even Sue and I, we spoke about it. We're not gonna have a voice to decide, because once it's the speaker and the board president and the mayor making decision, so that's therefore your council member who's supposed to voice your opinion will be out of commission, and so is community board. So what I'm saying to you, you can't say no, but I'm saying to be prudent, because the person, the developer, probably not gonna build housing, but if they do, what do you want out of it? Now you're just talking about the rent. I'm concerned about the children, the next generation as well, because some of our children cannot afford to pay apartment for $2,200, $2,300.
But why are these people coming here?
But having said that, so that's the discussion. If you want higher, because no developer gonna build without having the opportunity to make money on it. That's investors. They are investors. So now, if you want to go higher in the building, then you have, let's say for example, if you do 16 units, you may have 4 at affordable.
What
So
is affordable?
it can be $1,100 for a studio. It can
For a
be
studio?
For a studio. 1 bedroom probably gonna
That
go
would be a
to
lottery.
about
It may
14 or
not-
1,500.
It may not be guaranteed to somebody in this community.
But in your area, I love that question. In your area, you still have a possibility to have 15%. 15% maybe in the 6 unit, you probably end up with 1 unit or 2 unit. And then that will go by the zip code for the area that where you build. But having said that, it depends on how many units that you build. If you build more unit, let's say if you do 30, you probably gonna end up with about 6. If you do 16, you probably end up about 4. So now those will be affordable. But the rest gonna be market price, which we all know is ridiculous in New York.
So who we voting for tonight? The developers or the city?
Well, and let me just say that the second option on the affordability, which
don't
is
know
where
yet.
the council member is leaning, and I think where the council will go if we vote to approve it, is a lower option. So it's not 25% of the units, it's only 20%, but the incomes are much lower. So the incomes would be between 45,000 and 65,000 a year, depending on household size. So if you're an individual person, it's 45,000. If you're a family of 4, it'd be 65,000.
Okay.
I want to DR that real fast. So if we're saying, what percentage AMI are we talking about right now?
So this would be 40%.
40%.
40% AMI, okay. So 40%, you know what? Does everybody know what we're talking about? Okay,
What's
AMI,
AMI?
area medium
Median
income. So it's the equation, like we have tables that exist to say people who make between this amount of money and that amount of money can pay about this amount in rent. So 50% of the AMI in this community for a family of 4, I just looked it up so I would give the right figure, is $81,000. 100% would be $162,000 for a family of 4. Now say a family of 3, that might make more sense. 50% is $72,900. So that would be like 1 mom and 2 kids, or 2 married people and 1 kid. 100%, same family composition, is $145,800. Does that make more sense? What the AMI is, we have 50% and 100% affordable. So if we're talking about the cost, so for the folks who have the higher income, right, with that 100%, a 3-bedroom would be about $4,000 a month. That is a mortgage, right? So we understand what we're talking about now. That makes a little bit more sense for people.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna re-ask this. So we're looking at 5 stories. That would be 16 units for 5 stories. Is that what I'm looking at? All right. So 50% of them would be market rate, and 25% would be, this says MIH, but that's basically like affordable. So what would the other 25% be?
Commercial.
It would either be 75% market rate, 25% affordable, or
Oh,
where
okay,
we're
okay.
leaning to though
It's
is
25%.
80% market rate, 20% affordable, but it'll be at that lower, that 40% AMI.
Yeah.
The 40% AMI, so it's gonna be lower, so that'll be, so for, what's the AMI for a family of 4 at 40%?
It's about 65,000.
65,000,
Rent
so.
would be, so that'd be like,
Oh, that was here.
Yeah.
she just pulled it up.
She just put it up.
Oh, thank you.
So this shows the rents at 40%
The rents.
AMI, for instance. We can scroll up to the incomes,
You see the studio 850. So.
and then the incomes at 40% AMI. So roughly, it
Alright.
ranges between 45 and 65.
So at 40%, I could make $80,000 a year, I just have to have 6 kids. That's what you're telling me, right? Because that's 7.
Or a husband, or a husband,
I gotta have 5 more kids, all right.
or a husband and 4 kids, or a husband, 4 kids.
Affordable to whom? It's always the question, affordable to who? But we're talking about a smaller number. We're talking about 20% of the units would be this affordable number, and then 80% of the units would be the big $4,000. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Could I?
We have. Let's Julius ask a question, and you ask the question last.
No.
Can we close it out? No. Oh, about this? All right. Go ahead.
Behave.
So if anybody know anything about Maria Garrett on this board, it's about infrastructure. Okay? And I want to know if y'all, the council people, address the elephant in the room.
What?
Because our area is marshland, flood zone. And if you're going to put a 7-story building, a 5-story building, are they checking infrastructure?
Yeah.
We get flooded with the drop of rain.
Yes.
Okay? Did you see what happened on Fulton Street and Bed-Stuy? I grew up in Bed-Stuy. Never 1 ounce of flood was on those streets. They built those 7, 10-story apartment buildings, beautiful buildings on Fulton Street. The people were floating. This is what these developers are not doing. They're not coming in, checking the infrastructure, checking to see whether or not they could sustain the water that's flowing in these communities nowadays. That's one thing that we cannot afford right here on Flatlands Avenue. So if this man wants to put commercial, let him put commercial, because he would not be doing himself any justice if he put a 5-story building in there. That's all I have to say.
I'm gonna apologize, I have to run to another meeting, but I'm gonna leave Paris here and Dana to try to help you out. But what I'm saying, listen to the advice, the best way I can give it to you, that's the reason I bring him here. This city have a city of yes. Let's engage in the conversation and see how we can bob and weave our way out of things. And like I said, if we do whatever we do, I'm gonna go with it, but I feel like they're gonna come with storm after January 2 for us.
Well, thank you for respecting our decision. Travel safely, council member. We're gonna hear from Julius, and then you guys may have known, we have two people we're gonna hear from. Our civic leaders, you may have noticed that they've been kind of like moving out in drips and drabs. So what's happening is this is an emergency meeting. Everyone's getting this information at one time. So the leaders of our civics are actually in the hallway right now, and they're having some conversations about what they think the motion should be. So after we hear from these 2 last people, we're ready with the motion. Fantastic.
My 2 staff are in the front. If you have anything, that doesn't mean I'm leaving, they're taking notes.
Okay, so don't talk bad about Councilmember Narcisse. Got it. All right, please proceed.
Woo! Julius Stoops Jr., board member. Not gonna do that. I was just listening, and for me, it does make sense if we can have some leverage. And one thing about negotiation is the more leverage you have, the more power you have, and I believe in power. So I actually want to, for all of us to just think about these 8 things. Yes, I'm gonna do it quick. Maybe we can get, number 1, 4 floors only. Number 2, fewer units. Number 3, and we request infrastructure upgrades such as sewer system and stormwater. Number 4, upgrading local parks or create a green space. Number 5, a percentage of revenue goes to nearby local schools. Number 6, a community space on the ground floor or in a portion of the building. Number 7, apprenticeship program for the youth. And number 8, a percentage of units for community residents only. Those are 8. Now, I did some research, and I did some deep research. These requests represents and are aligned with our borough president's Reynoso's goal, and that is high opportunity area, better infrastructure, better design, and displacement protection. So not only do we get what we want, but they get what they want. Leverage is power. Let's have some power.
That makes sense.
That was,
Thank you.
I absolutely love that, Julius. I love that, I love that, I love that. If the developer were here asking us to consider this, that would be perfection, right? Paris, are you at liberty to,
No, we can convey that. I think it's.
but beyond convey it, right? Because we know that we're gonna leave here tonight with the vote and then you guys gotta do what you're doing on Tuesday or Wednesday. So outside of the developer, are you at liberty to make any of those concessions, especially as it relates to the stormwater?
No, but what we can, how the process works is, if that's gonna be the condition of the vote here, that's probably how Councilmember Narcisse is gonna vote. So what we'll do is, getting her vote will be contingent on the developer agreeing to those things. And that's how the negotiation usually works. I think it's more difficult here because it's a little more hypothetical, but in that sense, the developer should be more than willing to agree to what makes sense because they're not even planning to build a residential building. So what we're asking is if you do go forward with the residential building, you need to provide X, Y, Z, A, B, C that you just laid out.
Yes, that would make sense.
All right, thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Kim Wanless, just a community member. My question is one of clarity and hypothetical. So I heard you mention that the builder does not have to build residential even though we approve it for residential, am I correct? Okay, so if that builder doesn't build residential property, will they be cited by the city in any way because they propose residential? Or will we be back in the same situation where the city, as Councilwoman Narcisse says, is looking at us as if we don't want to help with the housing issue? So would we be right back where we were?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So, with any time you're doing zoning, it's a legal process. So there's boundaries on the legal aspects of this process. Here, they had an expedited environmental review. So as part of the zoning that they get, unless it's just a flat out no to this whole application, it has to include residential. But once you're zoned, you don't have to build at all. What you can't build is what the zoning doesn't allow, but you can build less than the zoning allows. And that would be the case here, where the developer, he's saying he only wants to build commercial's allowed, it's just less than what's allowed, he can build less.
Okay,
And then to your other question about, well, if he builds less, then are we still in, the doghouse, basically? Well, I think what the council member's saying is that by compromising on these projects, that this community is less of a target for the rest of the city. And, I work with all the council members across the city. There's 50 others besides Narcisse, and a lot of them, some of them, have communities like this and they're totally with her. A lot of them have communities that are more dense and they're not with her necessarily. And so some of it is just by compromising, her idea is that it takes some of a target off of this community's back. It's a subjective at the end of the day. We don't know.
All right, and this is it. This is our last question.
Good evening. My name is
Frank.
Curvins Dorsley, community resident, first time coming here. Question, you said this developer has other commercial properties in the area. Would one of them be the property that's been there on 50, across from the council member's office, right before Ralph Avenue on Flatlands? That's been sitting there? It's not the same there? Okay, because I didn't want that to happen again. If this gets approved, another commercial property is sitting there and nothing's happening, so.
I'm glad he knows that, because I don't know.
Oh, he knows the.
He knows everything about this community.
Hello, Frank.
Good evening, everyone. Well, a few questions about this property. I happen to be intimately familiar with this site. I represented the original owners 40 years ago when they wanted to build stores there. I think it's an R4, and they wanted to put stores in, and just as similar to the stores that are across the street from there. And everybody was happy with that. We actually went through Board of Standards and Appeals and got approved. The owners decided not to do it. So here's our problem. and I think everyone here agrees with me on this. My family's been here 110 years, by the way. And I was born on Glenwood Road in East 83rd Street, almost 80 years ago. So I know this neighborhood backwards and forwards. I've represented this community in 1,000 different capacities since 1980, in one official capacity or another. So with that being said, and just offering a few moments to let my ego be satisfied, I will say that the problem we have is all of us, from my grandparents who came in and had a farm on Glenwood Road in the 1920s till today, we moved here despite the fact that we're a two-fare zone, because we wanted to live in a residential area. There are only five, except for the two housing developments, 5 buildings in this district, in Community Board 18, that are more than 3 stories. One's on Rockaway Parkway across from Canarsie High School, one's on East 98th Street and Avenue J. There's one on Kings Highway and Avenue K, there's 3 there. And there's one other one over on Flatbush Avenue. That's it. That's all the high-rise buildings we have. We have a development that's been here also for over 50 years. That's a co-op. And that's kind of worked its way around between Avenue I and J in the 50s. Most people don't even, by the way, I'm pretty much across the street from this site. But we wanted stores. We agreed with the community board as a vote that we would agree to the developer building stores, and then lo and behold, you guys came along and said, oh, build apartments here, we want more apartments. And you want to put not only a 2 or 3 story building that they were willing to do, let's put 7 stories up here, another 7-story building. What is our problem? We did not move here, and everyone here who lives here did not come here to live in anything but 1, 2, or 3 family home. That's what we like. We moved to the suburban part of New York City. And that's what we are, the suburbia of New York City. And all those schmucks who live in Manhattan, those high-rise buildings where they can't park and they can't drive and they can't do anything, good for them. We have no other way to get around but driving. We took that responsibility by buying the homes and living in the homes we have. And that's really why we are a little upset about changing that formula for us. And it sounds great, oh, we want to build more houses. You know what? There's maybe only 4 sites in all of Community Board 18. I can actually identify without doing it to you, because you run back and try and build on them. In all the rest of Community Board 18, there are maybe 4 sites that we can build new buildings on, that are empty, vacant land. And we don't want it. And it's not because we don't want my housing. That's not the kind of community we wanted to see. Every day I drive up Bedford Avenue to go into downtown Brooklyn, which is probably the biggest traffic disaster in America.
Absolutely.
They make the Los Angeles freeways look like speedways.
I don't know about that. I'm from LA.
Well, you probably don't drive. That's why.
No, when in LA, I drove.
Okay, but in our communities, okay, we drive and we have no choice but to drive. We have buildings along Flatlands Avenue, and they're all commercial, starting at least with 1 level commercial. From one end of Flatbush Avenue to the other, with the exception of the section between Utica Avenue and Flatbush Avenue. Okay, almost every other block east of that has storefronts in some way, shape, or form. We're happy with storefronts. We'd like to see storefronts. Businesses thrive in our community because we shop in them. Okay, adding housing to us in some large story circumstance is against our community. I mentioned Bedford Avenue for a very important reason. Every day that I've driven past there, where the old Sears Roebuck used to be, some of you know, and every block from Flatbush Avenue north has new buildings going up all around private homes. And that might be good. I don't know how they got past that, but they did it. There were empty lots, big empty lots in the commercial area. We're not that. We're a residential suburban community living here instead of East Cupcake, Long Island. None of us, I didn't go there when I will never forget when I was in the 60s and I bought my first house on East 92nd Street and Farragut Road. As a matter of fact, I moved from 83rd Street. My grandmother thought I moved far away. I was moved from Grandma, it's only 8 blocks. But with all that being said, the truth is, we stayed here because we liked it. I didn't want to go to Long Island when I was alive. I'm not even going to be there when I'm dead. I'm going to be buried in Canarsie Cemetery. But the bottom line is, We like what we have. We're comfortable with what we have. We are raising our, and by the way, we are a middle income mixed ethnic community. Every one of our communities in this district are middle and higher middle income areas. Every one of them has people who came here because we have good schools. They came here because we have good, safe neighborhoods. And adding additional housing like you're talking about at random may not be so bad, but it's not what we came here for. And yes, we can say, oh, well, we have to look at progress. Well, to me, progress is living the way I'd like to live for the last 80 years of my life. And I think almost everyone here feels that way, that that's what we want to do. So with all due respect to city planning, go screw yourself.
None of my life. All in my life. All in my life. Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, YouTube. Hey, it's gonna go live.
Okay.
Just a reminder, I work for city council, I do not work for city council.
And we're not responsible for the. We're not gonna-
Now that the new laws, I'm sorry. The new,
No, I was talking about it earlier, it's a big problem for communities
Yes.
like this. And by the way, I mean, I agree with what you're saying, you're not,
Thank you.
You're not wrong.
Well, I just want to point out, as of last in November, you saw there were a number of measures on the ballot that unfortunately passed. Two of those measures said that the city council members will no longer, what gives us the great strength with our council members, very frankly, and that is that they had the final say. The city council technically had it, but the member had the final say. They've eliminated that. The way it works now, if we want to appeal, is we have to go to a 3-member group, the mayor, the borough president, and the city council. And most likely the person on the city council will be the city council member. So it's gonna always be a 2-to-1 decision with that. And I know our assembly member, Jamie Williams, is here.
Oh,
And,
God.
If she wants to replace me, please come up. We need some younger people to talk. Thank you.
Why, help me, Christ.
But that means they're gonna build anything they want.
All right, Assembly Member Jamie Williams.
Well, I don't want to replace you, Sean. However, it's always funny when we get a presentation from the mayor's office or so forth, how when you ask the question, do you live in New York City or are you from the community, it's always no. There's always someone coming from out of state, and I always find that quite bothering, because you're making a presentation to people that live here for a very long time, and it's like you're coming in and telling us what's best for our district, and that's not right. And Frank spoke about the proposals that was passed, and that doesn't take away the say from the city council member, but also from the community board, right? It doesn't need input from the community board, and it is a developer's sweetheart deal for all land that's available. And the other thing is, say for instance, that was to happen, and you talk about residential, we've seen the trend where this have happened, and guess what? The city or whoever owns it, say you knew something? Sometimes people may fall short on their rent, and then that might be an issue. So why not just rent it back to the city, as a homeless shelter, because we've seen hotels did it, right here on East 48th Street by the park, right? And then they have a certain amount of beds or units for people that are homeless, or a drug rehab facility. There are so many things, and we have seen this manipulation over and over and over, where they put in for one thing, the switch and bait and switch, and then
Just like her.
it's a homeless shelter. It just happened on Coral
She
Street.
came in as a Republican.
It just happened there.
She's a Republican.
Everything was entered, and then after, a different set of paperwork, and the community was the last to know. And I believe we will be on 108 tomorrow, because there is rumors of a homeless shelter coming there.
Somebody said, wait, 108.
108. Right? So
108
Flatlands.
right. So we
Here
have to
come
be
the
very
hysteria.
mindful when things are happening in other parts of the district, and we're like, oh, well, that's them, that's the, you know, we don't have to be bothered. You know something? What affects this part of the district today may not affect you today,
That's right.
but it will definitely affect you
That's right.
tomorrow. And this is what we're seeing. Just like the battery lithium plants that we're seeing popping up all over, the one on Avenue U doesn't even service our community. It's a hub for Sheepshead Bay, and then we already have the one at 965 on Remsen Avenue, and who knows which other places in Canarsie this is going to be popped up on, and whose backyard. And not until it's in your backyard, that's when we're going to come and say, not in our backyard, not in our backyard. But guess what? If we stand together as a united front, whether it's Canarsie, Marine Park, Mill Basin, it's good for us. But we have to stop thinking, oh, you know what, it's happening in Marine Park. Oh, that's their problem. Oh, it's happening in Canarsie. Oh, that's their problem. That's how we lose things. And that's where they see our weakness. So I say to you to go back and, you know, and say what the community wants, because this is where we stand. This is where I live, this is where I shop, this is where I do everything. So, you know, it's important for us, and I've always said before you, we have probably the most green spaces, green outdoor space in Brooklyn. And we should think about that. Because all this housing shortage and all this, I hope you guys do know, there is housing, there's a part to it where it's warehouse. Okay? So they're not being honest with you. There's a shortage.
Talking about
You
somebody
know why there's a shortage?
dishonest about her
Because there's so much
affiliation.
regulation, so many different things. So if you're a developer and you have investment, you're just waiting for the right opportunity. So again, I just wanted to share that with you, and that's it. I stand with my community. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Tom Hernandez.
Yes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. In speaking, I'm sorry, still being recorded and all that?
Oh, wait, before you do that, Joan, did you have questions as president of Flatland Civic? And then that'll be our last. Joan is the president of the Civic Association that is, that this area falls in. So because of that reason, I'm gonna give her the opportunity to ask any final questions.
Okay, so I just want to just make a statement. So Joan Gilbert is my name. So, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So, we talk a lot about, you know, what's happening. Frank, I think, said everything in terms of, you know, like you are not in this neighborhood, right? And so you don't know, well, when I say you, not you, but you don't, you know, the people who do this, they don't know the day-to-day struggles that we face in this neighborhood. I live on 55th Street, and there are 13 houses, you know, in the driveway, from the driveway. This lot is directly in front of our driveway. And our neighbors, you know, just wave, our neighbors are here. And when almost on any given day, it's like you're being held hostage. You know, and you can't make a turn onto Flatlands Avenue because the traffic is, I know, right. It's a holiday. So those are the things, even if you have buildings, you know, like you have, you know, 5 floors, 7 floors, it's just a ridiculous because it's just a safety hazard. And I don't know if anyone knows about just what's around the area. You know, it's a lot of, it's all of the mechanic shops, and it's a hassle to park. It's dangerous. So this residential thing is not, you know, a great thing because of all of those issues. When we spoke to the developer, he was all about the commercial. So it's shocking to me just to hear about the residential. So that's it. And, you know, that's it.
Thank you, Joan. All right, and now Chair of our Land Use and Zoning Committee.
Yes, I'm Tom Hernandez, I'm the chairman of the Planning and Zoning Committee and a board member. I would like to, on behalf of many of the people here in the civic of the area, propose the following compromise. A 4-story residential development with ground floor for commercial, with a community space, with parking, and with infrastructure improvements, as a minimum. And I'd like to move that we take a vote on that. As a maximum.
Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, here we go. As an alternative and counter proposal to today's proposal, a 4-story residential development with a ground floor for commercial and a community space with parking and for each unit and infrastructure improvements.
All right, so I have a counter proposal of a 4-story residential development with ground floor for commercial and a community space with parking for each unit and infrastructure improvements. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
No. I wanted to talk about the motion. Can we
You
talk
can't
about
talk
it?
about the motion because it's not on the floor. Okay, so it has been moved by Tom Hernandez, Chair of Planning and Zoning, and seconded by David Price, Board Treasurer, that Community Board 18 counters land use proposal with a 4-story residential development with ground floor for commercial and community space with parking for each unit and infrastructure improvement. I'm gonna email that to you directly. And I know that we have a lot of unreadiness, so. Questions, comments? Now, all right, Julius, we're still gonna line up over here.
Just one question. Is it possible if we can get, I know we can't get 100% of the local residents in, but some type of percentage of the local residents being able to actually be housed in, quote unquote, housed in that residential space? I know we can't get 100, but me personally, I'm okay with 25%. That's just with for local residents.
So
that's just my.
That's actually illegal, unfortunately, and there was a whole lawsuit about that. Yeah, because of that.
Yeah, you
so
can't force it.
Whenever there are affordable units and the lottery opens up, there is a small percentage that has community board preference, but 25% absolutely not. Unfortunately, that's illegal. So we're just
Sorry about that.
But to the extent of what the law allows, that's what it will be. So also, we're gonna move a little faster now. I know you've just been answering questions first, but what's supposed to happen is questions are posed to me, and then I will pass them off if that needs to happen. All right, Nigel? 1 minute.
1 minute.
30 seconds.
Once again, Assembly Williams, the protest will be at 945 108th Street tomorrow.
Wait, what are we talking about?
You gotta answer a question about this.
No.
No, we can't.
On the floor.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's new item.
The motion, I'm sorry.
That's
About
okay.
the motion, Community Board Member Nigel Dupree, I do not even appreciate that we brought that motion to the floor. We should be saying no. So I didn't agree with this motion, and I'm saying no to the motion.
Okay, thank you for saying that. Thank you, Nigel. That's new items. You could come back on that.
Protest already. Put that together.
No, we gotta talk about it later. You gotta wait, sir.
Hello, everyone. Just real quick, I know we're saying that we might approve this, and the theory is that the developer will never build this. But I think we need to be aware of that once this project is approved, that it might be quite valuable to somebody else, and he may turn around and sell this project. And if he does, we will get what we vote for. So I would be very careful in that whatever we vote for, we must be able to live with, and that it could potentially be built, despite the fact that this developer does not wanna build it in theory.
Thank you, Ike. And to Ike's point, when this came before us initially, that was a concern, which is why we ended up doing things the way that we did. If the question came up, well, what if this person sells, and if we have it zoned for X amount of stories, will the next person do it? Or will they sell it to themselves? Y'all know how people do things.
Good evening, Jamal Crow, board member. My question is, from what I'm understanding, this idea of compromising to prevent additional action in the area. My question is, what exactly about this compromise is in writing that states that, okay, if we were to okay this one, that something else wouldn't happen? And I say that only because they're taking these actions anyway, and in the case of Marine Park from the Coyle Street, it apparently didn't have any real support or anything to that nature. So what makes this any
There is
different?
absolutely nothing in writing, and everything is purely anecdotal, right? So whatever we leave here with today is gonna go before the city council for a vote. Our council member has already given us her word that she is going to vote in lockstep with us. Typically, the city council has member deference, and the other 49 members will vote along with that one person who represents the district. Not always. It has happened where it does not work out that way, right? So they may decide, Mercedes, you haven't had your share of development, so we're not going to vote for this. Or they may, right? So that's the first part. We don't know what's gonna happen there. But after that, because of that ballot proposal last week, there is an opportunity for appeal, which will be the mayor, the borough president, and the speaker of the city council. And we know for a fact that 2 out of 3 of them are development happy, heavy, however you want to say it. So there are a lot of variables here. And you know I'm never going to say there's a right or a wrong answer. However, I do believe that if we come out of here with a no, we don't want anything, they are going to probably just do whatever they want to do anyway.
That's right.
We did also conclude, because there's so many variables here, it's possible that they say, well, no, we want to now give this 10-story zoning. But that developer, the one that's in question, who already came before us, will be like, but I'm only building commercial because that's what I want to do. So we do not know what's going to happen. There are literally 3 potential steps that may happen.
And then I guess I'll leave it with this. I know my minute's up. Then why do we even go to 4 stories? Why don't we just give a true minimum? Why not it be 1 story? Because if he doesn't want to build it, then why leave any of that extra potential?
And that's why we debate these motions. So if that is the case, right, and if the person who made the motion wants to amend their motion, they 100% can.
Rob Mizuchin. Listen, Frank spoke about what our principles are, why we're all here, 1 and 2 family homes. That's why we're here. So what we're being told is compromise on the first battle that we have, because it might not go the way we want in the future. I think the way you stand your ground and the way you keep your principles is you fight the battle in front of you, and then if the battlefield changes in the future and we have to give in the next time, I say then we consider it at that point. But to give up right away now and compromise on what we fought so hard against City of Yes for, to me, I just think we're doing it in Canarsie, it's gonna happen in Mill Basin, it's gonna happen in Marine Park, and I just don't see how we can compromise. Stand on the principles that we all moved here for.
Hi, Marie Deleuze, I was about to say borough president. Community board.
Everybody giving themselves titles. President of the country.
I know, community board member. So I totally agree and understand that we have principles. I'm a principle person, advocate, and that we want to stand our ground. But I just have to push again to what Mercedes is saying. Okay, the fact is that Mercedes is saying, and we all know how it is, when you don't have a seat at the table, you can't make any decisions. So what she's saying very clearly, and I heard it several times, that if we continue and say no, we will no longer have a seat at the table. So we could take the principal stance. I'm all about principle. I take principal stance all the time. Ask our president. She always tells me to stop. But I just want us to be very clear. Yes, of course I'm telling you to stop. I see you like, Marie, no. Whenever I go too far and I start yelling at people, you tell me no. Okay, exactly. So what I'm saying is that we just have to be very clear. Yes, we want to be principal. Yes, we are residential. Yes, we have to take everything in consideration. We just have to understand, and the opposite is that we will no longer have a seat at the table. Mercedes will not be able to fight for us moving forward when it comes to housing development, and we're going to be caught between a rock and a hard place. I just want to make sure that we understand the decisions, because I love all the other flowers, but we have to understand that too. Thank you so much.
And now we will hear our last input on in this debate from our district manager, Sue Empire now.
So, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi. So I was on Zoom with Mercedes and Paris and Dana the other day when all of this came about. And I basically told them the exact same thing that I'm hearing tonight. That we don't want anything more than a one-story commercial property. As I told them, and all of you know, born and raised in Community Board 18, still live here. I know this area like the back of my hand. Flatlands Avenue is all one-story commercial. I don't care what's going on another street or in the development in Glenwood. The fact is that Flatlands Avenue is a one-story commercial area, and that we'd like to keep it like that. This was what we talked about the other day. This is what I told them that the community board members would say, and I appreciate that all of you did that, and I do agree that we should stand our ground, and unfortunately, we already lost because there is no seat at the table anymore for the community board or for the council member because of the ballot proposal that got voted in, and that meant that the rest of us got voted out. So it probably is time to say, we're gonna stand our ground, we're gonna fight for our community, and again, I appreciate that all of you, came out tonight to do that. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, and we're gonna amend the proposal.
Amend the proposal to 3 stories, based on what I've heard so far, okay? So let's change it to 3.
All right.
And then I'd like to see if we can get a vote on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
1 second.
Okay.
All right, so now we're amending it to 3 stories. So the new motion reads as, Community Board 18 counters the proposal with a 4-story residential.
3
sorry,
stories.
see? Community Board 18 counters the proposal with a 3-story residential development with ground floor for commercial and a community space with parking for each unit and infrastructure improvements.
I'm not gonna second that, but I just
It's
want
already
to make sure
seconded,
we're
yeah.
clear. So the issue, if you're allowed 3 stories total, so if we're gonna say to conform, it should be 2 residential stories above the commercial. We're allowing 4 stories on the way that motion's written, which is, it's 3 stories total, so 1 commercial and 2 residential. So don't be tricked into thinking that this is a conforming use, because it's not.
So
It's
conforming
3
would be
stories
3 stories total, first floor?
First floor commercial and 2 stories.
2 stories.
3 altogether.
3 altogether.
3 total.
3 altogether. 3 altogether.
So 2 residential floors,
Above the
1 commercial, 2 residential.
Listen, we
They're trying to make it happen.
listen, we're gonna.
All units.
And still gonna do the infrastructure.
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Do we make the infrastructure part
He
specific?
got it, he got it. He still
Part
got
of
it.
it.
Okay.
Still
Part
got
of
it.
it. It's all
Make sure.
a bundle.
We've
Okay.
been flooded enough.
So this is what I have. So Community Board 18 is council proposing for a 3-story residential development that includes ground floor commercial space, a dedicated community facility, parking for each residential unit, and necessary infrastructure improvements. A little license there.
2-story residential, 3 stories total. 3 stories total.
Well, it says 3-story residential.
No, not
Okay.
residential.
3 stories total.
With 1 commercial.
2 stories residential and 1 commercial. That's what they're saying.
And
parking.
This is the best meeting we've had in a long
But I kind of like the threatening one. When they were threatening.
All right.
Because the migrants over, that was the best.
Council proposal for a 3-story development, period. 2 top floors residential and a ground floor commercial space and a dedicated community facility, parking for each residential unit and necessary infrastructure improvements.
Yes.
All right, we got it.
Naomi,
Yep.
would you clarify for everyone that that's the size of the unit of the homes in the area?
Would I clarify?
So that everybody's aware that that's what, the neighborhood is 3 stories.
Oh, yes. Is it a 3 or is it a 4?
No.
It's a 3? Okay.
Three.
All right. So Naomi's clarifying, thank you to our leaders over here, that is the height of the buildings in that particular neighborhood, 3 levels. So it's in,
It conforms with what we have.
tough of a word, but it's going along. It's going along with how we want it.
Is he still here?
Oh yeah, Paris is right there, letting us work this out. Letting us work it out.
I'm just making sure you're still there.
Okay, you have a question? What's the question?
About the infrastructure, is there a way to put in stipulation to check and ensure that no sinking will happen?
No.
It's
just infrastructure.
Yeah, so there was a environmental study was done, right? So an environmental study was already done on this. So it's supposed to be able to handle the 7 floors that was brought before us. Somebody said, really? All right, I wanna go home, y'all. All right, are we ready for the question?
Yes, yes, and the vote.
The motion on the floor is Community Board 18, Council proposes for a 3-story development. 2 top floors residential development, ground floor commercial space, a dedicated community facility, parking for each residential unit, and necessary infrastructure improvements. We will now proceed with a roll call vote. All those in favor with this motion will respond yay, yes, affirmatively, right? All those not in favor will respond no, nay, something that we know you are not in favor. Please proceed with a roll call vote.
Cassandra Alvarez, Johnny Arsentillis, Muhammad Aziz, Felina Backer, Alan Bash, Barbara Bieber, Greg Caruso, Roosevelt Bosico, Gardy Brazella, Andrenia Burgess, Lisa Calendar Wilson, Jamal Carrillo, Kimberly Koch, Charmaine Corney Antoine,
No, Kings Village is still sinking, and that's 20 years of sinking, so no.
Donna Mae Crossfield,
Yes.
Paul Curiali,
Yes.
Gil Sigler, Marie Deleuze,
Yes.
Stanley Delva, Nigel Dupree,
No.
Ariel Freeman, I'm sorry, Maria Garrett,
Yes.
Denise Gordon,
Yes.
Denise Gordine,
Yes.
Francesca Griffith, Sarah Hendricks, Tom Hernandez,
Yes.
Kenny Jean Baptiste, Naomi Lira,
Yes.
Rob Mazuchin,
No.
O'Meal Morgan, Dudley Pleaserval, David Price,
Yes.
Elaine Reed, Yolaine Rador,
No.
Michelle Seeley, Frank Sedio, Aki Sinisi,
Abstain.
Christopher Smith, Victoria Stennett, Julia Stukes,
Abstain.
Annette Tomlin, Jennifer Troman, Mike Trotter, Arnell Williams, Shireen Williams, Maria Willis,
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
Valerie Woodford, Grace Willenberg,
Is Mike Trotter outside?
I heard somebody. I thought it was Frank. Oh, that's all.
Okay, and we have 6 noes, 3 abstentions, and 10 yeses. The matter.
Wait.
Cap?
Don't we need 25 for a quorum?
People left.
People left.
No, but only 3 people left.
Oh, we didn't have quorum?
We never had quorum.
Oh, we didn't get, what?
Whoa.
Oh.
22 when they started.
Proceed.
Mike Trotter left. And,
Frank?
Oh, see, that's why we gotta have these bright attorneys around. Y'all knew we didn't have quorum and we did all of this for no reason. No, I'm just kidding. It was not for no reason. We had to have this hearing. So here's what's gonna have to happen. We cannot give you a response. We can't do it until Wednesday. I know you guys have a deadline, but
What's the deadline?
Tuesday.
Huh.
That's why we had to call an emergency meeting. So we'll do this vote on Wednesday. We're not going to relitigate this whole thing on Wednesday. Thank you all for being here for this right now, and hopefully the other folks will vote how you say to vote. And can I get a motion to close?
Motion.
I now bring this meeting to an end until next Wednesday.
This is the joke of the community board. They had us do all that so they can have a better idea where we gonna go. And then after that, we couldn't even have a vote. We had a vote and we couldn't even do it. Can you imagine? This is the play. They wanna know, wait a minute, how far are they gonna go? So come Wednesday now, we're gonna do this stuff all over again, and everybody gonna talk behind the scenes and have the decision of what they want to do. That was crazy just now. All right, thank you for being here. Later. Bye-bye.